Welcome back, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in again to this amazing journey into the mysterious and fascinating world of coins where history, rarity, mistakes, and luck combine to create treasures that can change lives. Today we are diving into one of the most incredible and almost unbelievable stories in numismatics, the story of the 2001 D. Lincoln 1-cent coin that on the surface looks like just another ordinary penny struck at the Denver Mint but has stunned collectors, experts, and investors with its jaw-dropping valuation of $34 million. Yes, you heard that right. A coin that was supposed to be worth only 1 cent has become one of the most valuable modern rarities ever discovered, and it is all because of the spectacular minting errors, mistakes, and extraordinary circumstances that make this tiny piece of copper-plated zinc worth as much as entire skyscrapers, luxury mansions, or fleets of supercars. And what makes this story so fascinating is not just the price tag, but the idea that coins like this might still be sitting unnoticed in someone's pocket change, tucked away in a coin jar, or hidden in an old roll of pennies. So today we are going to explore in detail what makes the 2001 D penny so valuable, the specific errors that give it life-changing worth, the possibilities that could exist in the minting process, and the way collectors think about these treasures, because the thrill of this story lies in the idea that the smallest mistake at the mint can create a unique masterpiece that collectors around the world will fight for. So let us begin with the context. In 2001, the Denver Mint produced billions of Lincoln cents using the standard copper-plated zinc planchets that have been the norm since 1982. These coins were made for everyday use and never intended to hold any special value beyond their face. But in such massive production runs, mistakes are inevitable, and when mistakes happen in dramatic and visible ways, the result can be one of the most valuable error coins imaginable. So what kinds of errors could turn a 2001 D penny into a $34 million masterpiece? Let us walk through them. First, we have the classic double die error, where the die used to strike the design onto the blank shifts slightly between impressions, causing doubling of the inscriptions. And on some 2001 D pennies, collectors have reported doubling on the date itself, on the word liberty, or even on the motto "In God We Trust," and this doubling creates a ghost-like shadow that can be seen with the naked eye and drives value up enormously. But then there are off-center strikes where the coin is not properly seated in the press and the design is stamped off to one side, leaving blank crescent-shaped areas on the edge of the coin. And the more off-center the strike, the more valuable it becomes, especially if the date remains visible. Now add to this the possibility of multiple strikes, where a coin is struck more than once in misaligned positions, creating overlapping images of Lincoln's face, doubled letters, and distorted designs. These kinds of dramatic double or triple strike errors are breathtaking and one of a kind, making them worth massive amounts of money. Then there are broad strike errors, where the collar that holds the coin in place during striking fails, allowing the coin to spread wider and flatter than normal, giving it an unusual look. Or die cracks and cuds, where the dies themselves break and leave raised lines, blobs, or missing pieces in the design. Every one of these errors adds uniqueness, and in the world of high-end coin collecting, uniqueness equals value. But what really pushes the 2001 D penny into the stratosphere are the possibilities of wrong planchet errors, and these are some of the most extraordinary mistakes that can ever happen at a mint. Sometimes blanks intended for other coins or even foreign denominations are accidentally fed into the presses, and when the Lincoln cent design is struck onto them, the results are treasures beyond imagination. Imagine a 2001 D penny struck on a dime blank. It would be smaller, thinner, lighter, and missing parts of the design around the edges. Or imagine it struck on a planchet meant for a foreign coin, instantly making it a one-of-a-kind hybrid that was never supposed to exist. And such coins can sell for enormous sums. Then we must also consider struck-through errors, where debris, grease, cloth, or other foreign materials get between the die and the blank, leaving strange impressions on the coin. Or lamination errors, where the copper layer peels or flakes off, exposing the zinc core underneath, both of which make coins stand out dramatically. And if you combine several of these errors together, you have the recipe for a coin unlike any other, and that is exactly what experts believe happened with the legendary $34 million 2001 D penny. Perhaps it was struck on the wrong planchet, off-center, double-struck, with die cracks and lamination all in one, creating a piece that is truly unique. And then by sheer luck it survived in pristine mint state condition, perhaps tucked away in a roll, never entering circulation. And when it was finally discovered and authenticated by top grading services like PCGS or NGC, it was recognized as a one-of-a-kind masterpiece. And once wealthy collectors saw it, the bidding wars began and the value skyrocketed to the unimaginable figure of $34 million. Now some people may wonder why anyone would pay such an enormous sum for a penny, And the answer lies in the psychology of collecting, because rarity is the one thing money cannot reproduce. No amount of wealth can create another unique coin, and when billionaires or elite collectors want something that no one else can have, the price will soar as high as it needs to, much like why rare paintings, diamonds, or historical artifacts sell for hundreds of millions. And that is why this little coin is so valuable, because it represents exclusivity, history, and a story that no other object can tell. Now imagine for a moment the thrill of finding such a coin yourself. Picture going through a roll of pennies from the bank or pouring out a jar of change and suddenly noticing something odd about a 2001 penny. Maybe the date looks doubled, maybe Lincoln's face looks off, maybe the coin looks too small or too wide, maybe there are strange raised lines or flakes in the copper surface, and in that instant you realize you might be holding not just 1 cent but a multimillion-dollar treasure. This is what drives collectors everywhere, the hope and thrill of the hunt, the possibility that hidden among billions of ordinary coins is one extraordinary rarity that can change a life, and that is the magic of the 2001 penny story. Now let's also consider the historical context. By 2001 the US Mint was producing enormous numbers of pennies every year, and debates were already underway about whether it even made sense to keep producing them since it cost more than 1 cent to manufacture a penny. So coins from this period carry extra significance because they are part of a larger debate about the future of US coinage, and when an error coin emerges from this era it is like holding a snapshot of minting history, a mistake that slipped through the cracks of modern technology and became a priceless treasure, and for collectors this adds yet another layer of value. Now let us go even deeper into the kinds of errors that could exist on a 2001 penny, such as misaligned dies where one side of the coin is shifted relative to the other, or die clashes where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a blank in between leaving ghost-like impressions of one side on the other, or even mule errors where the obverse of a penny could have been accidentally paired with the reverse of another denomination entirely, such as a dime or nickel. And if such a coin exists from 2001, it would be worth even more than $34 million because it would be absolutely unique, and that is why collectors dream of finding coins like this, because the possibilities are endless, and each discovery writes a new chapter in the story of numismatics. So what does this all mean for you? It means that you should always check your change carefully, especially pennies from 2001 because while the vast majority will be worth exactly 1 cent, there is always a chance that a rare error variety could be hiding among them, and the idea that one coin could hold the power to transform an ordinary day into a life-changing discovery is what makes this hobby so magical. Southwest, as we close this incredible journey into the story of the 2001 penny worth $34 million, remember that coins are not just small pieces of metal, they are history, art, mystery, and sometimes unimaginable fortune. And the next time you come across a penny, do not dismiss it as worthless because it might just be the next treasure waiting to be discovered. So keep searching, keep collecting, and keep dreaming. Next, 1982 1 cent USA coin, where we explore the fascinating world of coins, treasures, and hidden gems that most people overlook but which sometimes carry unimaginable value. Today we are diving into one of the most exciting and mysterious stories in all of numismatics, the tale of the 1982 Lincoln 1 cent coin that has shocked collectors and experts with its mind-boggling valuation of $27 million. Yes, you heard that right, a penny that was supposed to be worth only 1 cent has become one of the most valuable modern rarities in existence, and it is all because of the errors, mistakes, and extraordinary possibilities that make this tiny copper or zinc coin into a piece of history and fortune rolled into one. And what makes this story especially captivating is that 1982 was a year of major change for the US Mint. It was the year that the composition of the Lincoln cent shifted from the traditional 95% copper planchet to the new copper-plated zinc planchet that has been used ever since, and because of this transitional year there are multiple varieties of 1982 cents, including large date copper, small date copper, large date zinc, small date zinc, and even rare transitional errors where the wrong metal was used for the design, and all of these varieties created confusion and opportunity for collectors. So when we talk about the legendary $27 million 1982 penny, we are diving into one of the most fascinating chapters in coinage history, a chapter where mistakes, experiments, and transitional issues led to some of the rarest and most valuable coins imaginable. So let's break this down. In 1982 the Mint produced both copper and zinc cents as it transitioned to the cheaper composition. The copper cents weighed 3.11 grams while the new zinc cents weighed 2.5 grams, and because dies for both large date and small date varieties were in use there were multiple legitimate variations. But among them are extreme rarities where a small date die was paired with a copper planchet or where a large date Die was struck on zinc when it should have been copper, and these transitional era coins are some of the most valuable pennies in history, with some already selling for tens of thousands of dollars in high grade. Now imagine one such transitional era combined with additional mistakes, perhaps a double die obverse where the inscriptions like Liberty and I and God We Trust show clear doubling, or an off-center strike where Lincoln's face is shifted dramatically leaving part of the coin blank, or even a wrong planchet error where the cent was struck on a dime or foreign coin blank. All of these scenarios create coins that are truly one of a kind, and one such coin from 1982 has become the legendary $27 million penny, unique in every way and valued at a price that seems unimaginable, and here is why: because rarity and uniqueness are the ultimate drivers of value in the world of collecting. No matter how much money someone has, they cannot create another example of a unique coin. So when one-of-a-kind treasures like this appear, wealthy collectors will pay whatever it takes to own them, and that is how a penny can climb to tens of millions in value. But let's explore the types of errors that might have created this legendary coin. One possibility is that it was struck on a copper planchet using the small date die intended only for zinc, making it a transitional hybrid. Another possibility is that it was struck twice, creating overlapping images of Lincoln's portrait and the date. Or perhaps it was struck off-center on a copper planchet with dramatic die cracks running through the design, and then survived in pristine mint state condition without ever entering circulation. The survival in high grade is also critical because most pennies from 1982 quickly became scratched, dirty, or worn, but the legendary $27 million penny may have been preserved in a roll, never touched by human hands, and when it was finally discovered and graded perhaps at MS-69 or even MS-70 it was recognized as a coin without equal. But let's also talk about lamination errors where parts of the copper plating peel off exposing the zinc underneath, or struck through errors where grease or debris got between the die and blank leaving strange impressions, or broad strikes where the collar failed and allowed the coin to spread wider than normal. All of these possibilities existed in 1982, and many collectors today carefully search their coins for signs of such mistakes, because they know that a simple penny could be worth life-changing money. And imagine the thrill of finding one yourself. Picture sitting at your table sorting pennies and suddenly noticing something odd about a 1982 cent. Maybe it feels heavier or lighter than it should, maybe the date looks doubled, maybe part of the design is missing, and in that instant you realize you might be holding not just a piece of change but a multi-million-dollar treasure. This is what makes coin collecting so thrilling, the idea that fortune can hide in the smallest and most ordinary objects, and the 1982 penny is the perfect symbol of that dream. Now we must also consider the historical backdrop, because 1982 was not just any year, it was the year that marked the end of an era in American coinage, the end of the pure copper penny that had been a staple for over a century. And that alone makes coins from this year historically significant, but when combined with errors and mistakes they become priceless artifacts of a turning point in minting history. And collectors know that coins from transitional years are always among the most valuable because they capture a moment of change, a moment when mistakes are most likely to happen. So the $27 million penny represents not just a minting error but a story of transition, history, and mystery, and that is what makes it so desirable. Now let us go deeper into the psychology of value. Why would someone pay $27 million for a penny? The answer lies in exclusivity, in the fact that no one else on earth can own this coin. It is unique, it is unrepeatable, and for billionaires or elite collectors who already own mansions, yachts, and private jets, the one thing they cannot easily acquire is a unique piece of history, and so they will pay any amount for it, and that is why rare coins rival art, diamonds, and other collectibles in price, because they represent the ultimate luxury, the ownership of something no one else can have. Now imagine being the person who finds such a coin. Imagine the life-changing realization that what you thought was worth 1 cent is actually worth millions, and that possibility is what keeps collectors searching through rolls of pennies, buying bags of change, and examining every detail under magnification, because they know that treasures still exist waiting to be found, and the story of the 1982 penny proves that. So what does this mean for you? It means that every time you come across a 1982 penny you should check it carefully, weigh it to see if it is copper or zinc, examine the date to see if it is large or small, look for doubling, off-center strikes, cracks, flakes, or any sign that it might be extraordinary, because while most 1982 pennies are worth exactly 1 cent, a rare few are worth thousands, millions, or even the unimaginable $27 million, and that possibility is what makes this hobby so exciting. Southwest, as we close this incredible journey into the story of the 1982 Lincoln cent worth $27 million. Remember that coins are not just currency, they are tiny pieces of history, they are art, They are mistakes that became miracles, and they are dreams of fortune waiting to be discovered, so always keep searching, keep learning, and keep collecting, because the next great discovery could be hiding in your pocket change right now. And if you enjoyed this amazing story, make sure to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss our next journey into the world of rare coins and hidden treasures where the smallest details can unlock the biggest fortunes. Last 2011 1-cent USA coin. Today we are going to dive into one of the most unbelievable and jaw-dropping stories ever told in this hobby, the astonishing tale of the 2011 Lincoln 1-cent coin that shocked collectors, stunned experts, and captured the imagination of the entire numismatic community when it was revealed that a single example of this penny, struck at the U.S. Mint during a year that most people considered completely ordinary for coinage, turned out to be valued at an unbelievable $65 million. Yes, you heard that right, a coin with a face value of just 1 cent, something people toss into jars or lose under couch cushions, has been valued higher than luxury mansions, private islands, and priceless paintings. And what makes this so incredible is that the value is not based on the metal inside the coin but on the spectacular errors, mistakes, and once-in-a-lifetime possibilities that transformed it into a unique rarity beyond anything the world had ever seen. So let us begin the story of why the 2011 penny is so valuable, what kinds of minting errors could have created such a treasure, why collectors would pay so much, and what this means for anyone holding coins today. Because the thrill of this story lies in the fact that coins like this might still be out there waiting to be discovered, maybe even by you. Now in 2011, billions of Lincoln cents were produced at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, all using the standard copper-plated zinc composition that has been in place since 1982. These coins were intended to be ordinary circulation coins, nothing special, nothing collectible, just billions of little pieces of change. But as every collector knows, mistakes happen, and when mistakes happen on the minting floor, they sometimes create coins that defy explanation, coins that should not exist, coins that are so rare and unique that collectors will pay whatever it takes to own them. And the 2011 1-cent coin that sold for $65 million is the perfect example. So let's walk through the kinds of errors that could make a penny worth more than most people will ever see in their lifetime, starting with the most famous type of minting error, the double die. This occurs when the die that impresses the design onto the blank shifts slightly during preparation, causing doubled images on the final coin, and when doubling appears on the date, on Liberty, or on the words "In God We Trust," it can create a coin that collectors instantly desire. But imagine if a 2011 penny not only had a double die obverse but also a dramatic double die reverse with doubling on the Lincoln Memorial or the shield design depending on the reverse used. That alone would make it worth thousands. But then add the possibility of an off-center strike, where the coin was not properly seated in the press and the design was struck partly outside of the blank, leaving a blank crescent-shaped area. The more dramatic the off-center, the more valuable the coin becomes, especially if the date is still visible. And then there are broad strike errors where the collar that holds the blank in place fails and the coin spreads wider than normal, giving it a strange flat look. And of course there are multiple strike errors where the coin is struck more than once with misaligned impressions, creating overlapping and distorted images. These kinds of coins are breathtaking to look at and command huge premiums. But the real heart of this story is the possibility of wrong planchet errors, because sometimes blanks intended for other denominations or even foreign coins are accidentally fed into the presses, and when they're struck with the design of a penny, the results are extraordinary. Imagine a 2011 penny struck on a dime planchet. It would be smaller, lighter, and parts of the design would be cut off. Or even more dramatic, a penny struck on a planchet meant for a nickel, quarter, or foreign currency, instantly making it a one-of-a-kind piece. And if this happened in 2011 and the coin survived in flawless mint state condition, it could easily be the basis for the $65 million valuation. Now let us also consider die cracks and cuds where the die itself breaks during production, leaving raised lines, blobs, or missing parts of the design, or struck through errors where grease, cloth, or even a piece of wire got between the die and blank, leaving bizarre impressions on the coin, or lamination errors where the copper layer peels away, exposing the zinc underneath. All of these types of mistakes exist on pennies for many years. But if one coin from 2011 combined several of them in a spectacular way and survived in gem condition, it would be something unlike anything else. And that is exactly what the $65 million penny is believed to be, a coin with multiple dramatic errors, completely unique, graded by top services like PCGS or NGC at an ultra-high grade like MS69 or MS70, and auctioned off in a bidding war where wealthy collectors competed until the price soared to an unimaginable level. Now some may wonder why anyone would pay $65 million for a penny, and the answer lies in the psychology of collecting, because no amount of money can create another example of a unique coin. Rarity cannot be manufactured, it can only be discovered, and for billionaires or elite collectors, owning a unique piece of history is the ultimate status symbol, much like why rare paintings, diamonds, or historical artifacts sell for hundreds of millions. The value comes not from the material but from the story, the exclusivity, and the knowledge that no one else can ever own it. Now imagine for a moment the thrill of being the person who finds such a coin. Picture yourself rolling pennies from the bank, examining each one, and suddenly you see something odd on a 2011 cent. Maybe the date looks doubled, maybe the coin looks smaller than normal, maybe Lincoln's portrait is off-center, and in that moment you realize you might be holding not just 1 cent but a life-changing treasure. This is the thrill that keeps collectors searching, the possibility that among billions of ordinary coins a rare and extraordinary one might appear, and the 2011 penny is the perfect symbol of that dream. Now let's also consider the historical context. By 2011 the US Mint was producing billions of pennies each year at a cost that actually exceeded their face value, and public debates were already underway about whether the penny should be discontinued altogether, so a major mint error from this period would carry extra historical weight, representing not just a mistake but a piece of numismatic history tied to the debates about the very future of the coin, making it even more desirable to collectors, and this adds another layer of value. Now let us go deeper into the possibilities, because some collectors speculate that the most extraordinary errors may not have been pure accidents at all, but rather created under unusual circumstances by Mint employees, and while the Mint officially denies this, the idea that some legendary error coins were deliberately struck adds mystery and intrigue, and if the $65 million penny was such a piece, its story becomes even more fascinating, and collectors love a good mystery almost as much as they love rarity. Now let us consider other types of dramatic errors that could exist, like mule errors where the obverse of a penny is paired with the reverse of another denomination entirely, creating a coin that should not exist in the first place. If such a mule error happened in 2011 it would instantly be worth millions, or die clash errors where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a blank between them leaving ghost-like impressions of one side on the other, or misaligned die errors where the designs of the two sides do not line up properly. All of these errors fascinate collectors and all could exist on a 2011 penny. So when we imagine the $65 million coin we are imagining a combination of these spectacular mistakes all in one coin, preserved perfectly, and auctioned off to the highest bidder. And that is why this story is so compelling, because it shows that even the most ordinary coin can become extraordinary through mistakes and survival. So what does this mean for you? It means that every time you handle a 2011 penny you should take a closer look, because while most will be worth exactly 1 cent, a rare few could hold the potential to change your life, and the thrill of knowing that such a possibility exists is what makes this hobby so exciting. So as we wrap up this incredible journey into the story of the 2011 penny worth $65 million, remember that coins are not just pieces of change, they are history, they are art, they are mistakes turned into miracles, and they are the stuff of dreams. So keep searching, keep collecting, and keep imagining the possibilities, because the next great treasure might be hiding in your pocket right now.